So I'm always going to start with the givens. All right, so my first step is to copy down my givens and identify that is the initial state. Right, after this, you have two different ways that you can or tend to approach a proof. One, you either interpret the given information, or two, you introduce the end state elements. Okay? And both of those are going to happen. It just the order that it happens doesn't matter. And so what I tend to do is I tend to interpret any of my definitions or any of the given information first. Okay, so if I label what I have, so QJ is parallel to CG, so I'm going to label that. HL bisects PHJ. Well, let's go ahead and interpret that. If that angle PHJ is being bisected, then what two angles will equal each other? Angle PHL and angle LHJ. Those are going to equal each other, and the reason for that is by definition of that term bisect. Okay, so I'm interpreting my given information. Okay, at the same time, this introduces one of my end state elements. So PHL is now introduced into my proof. Okay, so let's take a look at the next piece of information. Okay, so after we interpret the given information, the next step would be to make sure all your end state elements are introduced in as close to the form as possible of that end state. So I have PHL is equal to something. So I've already got this form. What I don't have is this HDS. So I need to figure out a way to introduce HDS into my proof. So if I take the measure of angle HDS, and in a form similar to what it's entered in as equal to something, what do I know HDS, this angle right here, is equal to? Okay, so I do know CDB, those would be vertical angles, but if you can, you'd like to relate it to objects that are elements that are already in your proof. So if I look at the things that are already labeled here, PHL and LHJ, I have a relationship between these two things, right? What kind of angles are those? LHJ and HDS are corresponding angles of parallel lines, therefore they are equal. So I can justify that statement with CA. And now my end state is PHL is equal to HDS. So here's PHL and here's HDS. I have PHL and HDS introduced already in my proof. Are they both set equal to the exact same thing? They are. And so by justification for this, the final statement is going to be transitive property or substitution. Okay? So again, that is the process for completing a proof.